For breakfast, Albany 783 Triple M. Great to catch up with HR expert Jonathon Woolfrey. Good morning, Jonathan.
Good morning, Anthony. How are you today?
Yeah, going well. One of the things we hear in the workplace, probably a little too often, is the phrase, "it's not my job." I guess it leads to the question, well, then whose job actually is it? How do we allocate jobs in the workplace?
That's a good question. I think workplaces need to exist to do the work required by the organisation, as simple as that. And sometimes there's things that crop up that aren't predicted and things like that. The reality is just to start from the beginning that an employer and the manager representing that employer has the right to provide a lawful direction to anyone. So anything that isn't illegal, a manager can ask an employee to do. There is a little bit of technical things that sit around that, but at the end of the day, managers can ask people to do anything that's lawful in the workplace generally.
So, to me, when I hear that, it's not my job. It really gets up my nose because I actually think, well, it needs to be done. We're all working together. Why can't you help out? Why can't you do it?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. When we get those comments that it's not my job, it's probably indicative. It's probably saying something else. It's probably saying, look, some people just have a very specific view of what they should be doing, and that's, one thing. But generally it's because they're probably saying, look, it's unfair. You always get me to do that job. They might be saying, actually, I can't do that job, but I don't want to say I don't have the capability to do that job. My workload's too much. Underneath that comment that it's not my job, and sometimes people are just troublesome. But I think digging in beneath it's not my job is important to do. And we do need to, whilst we may have the legal authority to direct people on these things, it's probably worthwhile digging in and thinking, okay, what is it? Why is it not your job? Do you need some more support? Are you overloaded? Are you feeling like you're getting all those extra jobs to do? And really getting down to the heart of that reason why it is not my job. And then we can figure out, okay, do we just go ahead and say, well, unlucky, you have to do it? Or do we say, look, okay, let's do it this way?
And I've seen this happen in a workplace where someone's taken their job description that they were given when they were employed, and they've taken it to the boss and said, what you're asking me to do is not written on here.
Yep. A funny
Have you ever met any of those people?
I think sometimes I feel like I've met all of those people. But I remember, I do hark back when I started out, and particularly when I worked in government, there was the thing in there, other duties as directed, 5% of jobs, which was the get out of jail free card for all managers, well, at least the perception of such. Fortunately, I haven't seen that in many job descriptions for a long period of time because you don't need it. Any other duties as directed is already within the purview, within the rights of a manager to do. So, look, I think a big part of it is good to have, in my view anyway, and a lot of HR professionals argue about this, but it is good to have a document that actually says, in general, this is what your job is. Let's be really clear about what your job is and write down the specific things we want you to do and we know that you'll need to do on a regular basis. So it's good to have that clarity rather than going, oh, your job is a HR officer in my context, and we'll just wing it as we go. It is good to actually have some specificity on that issue and have that there. But I think then we get into, but it's not in my job description because you've written it all down. Just then to continue the relationship and say, look, this is generally what we expect from you. We're all clear on that. But hey, I'll work with you because things change, new things come up, but I want to treat you with respect, pay you appropriately, make sure you've got a good balance and not treat you unfairly and just give you all the extra jobs and not your colleagues and things like that. And similarly on the employee side, we need to understand that things come up that managers and organisations don't anticipate. We need to all work together to get that job done. So comments such as it's not in my job description, it's not my job, are not helpful for everyone, but we do want to work around that and be fair in the way that we allocate the work in the workplace.
Yeah, really helpful. Thank you very much, HR expert Jonathon Woolfrey. Hey, we'll talk again next week, Jonathan.
No problem at all. My pleasure.